Hello friends, in Unit 5 in press communication up till now we have discussed the basics of press communication, wherein we talked about the objectives behind press communication and what are the various types of press communication, and we started our discussion on one of the types, inviting tenders or bids or quotations. So invitation for tenders we have already discussed in the last session that we have, and today is the time for us to discuss the press notes or the press releases. Right? Now let us first of all understand, though in the very first session in Unit 5, wherein I was introducing you to the press communication and I was talking about the different types of press communication, I gave you a brief understanding of what basically are press notes or press releases. But just as a recap, let's try and understand again what these press notes and press releases are all about. Basically, these are public announcements which organizations want to make. These are announcements which organizations make, and they want these announcements to reach audience far and wide, right? So what they do is they prepare the announcements and then they get it published on widely circulated newspapers, on newspapers which have very wide circulation. Is this okay? Now what are these announcements about? I'm giving you just a few examples. There can be n number of reasons for making such announcements, but I'm just giving you an indicative list. For example, when the company is about to launch a new product, they might want people to know about it. So, of course, they might come with advertising. That is an altogether different thing, but they also might want to come up with these kind of press notes so that this information reaches the audience located at far off distances also. Again, there might be a change in the office, or they might have started a new office somewhere, or they might have closed down a particular dealership, or they might have shifted a dealership from one place to the other. So they want the audience to be informed, right? So what will they do? They will come up with these kind of press notes or press releases. There is invitation to AGM. I hope you understand, annual general meeting. This is a meeting which is called by organizations, and all the stockholders, shareholders are invited to these meetings. Right? So naturally, again, the organizations do not personally know as to who their shareholders are, because shares many a times get traded in the open market. For example, if tomorrow I go and purchase Reliance Industries share, the Reliance Industries would not probably know that Gaurav Joshi has purchased these shares, but they want me to also be part of the AGM. They want to invite me to the AGM. So what will they do? They have only one way of doing this. They will come up with this kind of an invitation in a newspaper. So the press release would be about the AGM, annual general meeting, where it is going to be held and who all are invited and this kind of stuff. Fine, right? Okay, just a side topic. Why do we need AGMs? I mean, what happens in AGMs? Annual general meetings, basically the company or the business management, the management of the organization, the management of the business apprises the shareholders about the going-ons in the company, about the new plans that they have, the new moves that they've made, the decisions that they've made. So that is why generally AGMs are hosted, or AGMs are organized, scheduled, right? Then many a times board meeting resolutions. Organizations may have a board of directors. There are institutions which have a board of governor, which is basically the top, the apex strategy making body, policy making body, right? And when they decide something, that is known as a resolution. So a board may come up with a resolution that this particular company is going to enter foreign markets also in the year 2022. So this is one example of a resolution. So it may so happen that the board of Amul India may resolve that okay, by 2025 we will have our marketing presence and we'll sell our products in America also. So this is an example of a resolution. And if you want to let the audience know about this resolution, what do? You come up with these kind of press notes or press releases. Financial results. What do you mean by financial results? I hope you understand. Profit and loss accounts, the balance sheets. There are examples of financial results. When you want people to know about them, what you will do? You will have to publish these financial results as a press note or as a press release in newspapers. Speech by MD CEO, many a times what happens, and you might have in the recent times you might have come across such press releases issued by the Sahara Group, which was facing a number of issues in the last few years. So they regularly came up with these kind of press releases. The Sahara Group, Subrat Rai Sahara Group, right? And there in the press releases, and these used to be one full page press releases in local newspapers, they tried to assure the shareholders, assure the other people related to the organization, involved in the organization, be the employees, be the suppliers, be the customers, they try to assure them that everything is good and fine with the organization. So such events, such requirements are also fulfilled by press notes. Then you can have speech by MD, CEO, which you want a larger audience to have a look at. So then you go for these kind of press notes and press releases. And many a times clarification also has to be issued. So again, that would be a press note or a press release. Press notes and press release can be used interchangeably. Now this is the format of a press note, right? Let's have a look at this. What you need to do now is pause the video here, just go through the content, and then once you have gone through the content and you've understood whatever has been mentioned here, we'll start discussing it again, right? So do pause your video here. Okay, so I hope you have gone through the contents. Now let us understand the different elements of a press note. Number one, and this is something which is common with the circular, which is common with an invitation for bids, which is common with a notice also. And what is this thing? The thing is that at the top you have to mention the name of the organization. This is something that you have to mention at the top, even in the case of press notes. Along with that, you also have to mention the contact details, right? So we are mentioning the contact details, the phone number, the fax, the website address, the email ID. So we have mentioned all these things at the top. Then the date has been mentioned. Now please understand, this is very important. The title, just like in circular or in notices or in memorandums, we have the title at the top, then we have the date, and of course there could be a press note, a reference number also. See, GDC Pithoragarh 2021 press note number 045. This probably could be the meaning of this reference number. Fine. And let's have a look at what the press note says. In accordance with the guidelines issued by the government of Uttarakhand, wide means VIDE through. So government of Uttarakhand must have issued some guidelines through this particular circular, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare COVID-19, and 27th number of circular, which was probably issued on April 28th. So the government must have come up with these guidelines through this particular circular released on 28th of April. And what was there in the guideline? The college shall remain closed for students until further orders. All official work including issue of TC and character certificates shall also remain suspended. However, teaching shall continue in online mode in all the subjects in the meanwhile. So what basically the press note is telling, it is telling that the official work like issuing certificates would remain suspended, college would remain closed, but online teaching would continue and there would be no cessation of online teaching. So online teaching would continue, other things would remain suspended. Why? Because the government directive is like this only, right? Students are required to attend online classes regularly, submit all assignments and participate in all assessments to be eligible for the end semester examination. So this is another thing that we want to communicate to the larger audience, that the students should be completing their assignments, participating in tests, and they should attend all the classes. Otherwise they may not be able to sit in the end semester exams. Is that fine? So basically the whole idea behind this press note here in this particular example was, since we cannot reach out to every single customer, there are 6,000, 7,000 students studying from this very college, it's just not possible, not feasible to contact each and every single student individually and tell him or her that okay, the college would remain closed but you should continue watching the online lecture videos. So what we have done is, to make the whole process relatively convenient for ourselves, what we have done, we have issued a press note, and we would get it published in different local newspapers which many of our students probably would be reading, and then they would get to know about this development in the college. So this was the whole objective behind this particular press note, and this is the guy who has issued the press note. Fine. Now this is the content we've already discussed, and I hope now that things are clearer to you. And in the next session that we'll have, we'll talk about job advertisements. Thank you very much.